And that's why they're so concerned with Sister Heather, Sergeant Heather Teller.
What did she do?
When she's been on this thing from day one, she's been out making announcements and being in the courtroom saying before the verdict was out, from everything that she done seen and what police work is about, this boy should have been locked up, no questions asked, hands down. So they got a problem with her, a major problem, and this is just something that, and that's not the only thing she's been doing for years. She's been speaking out on the injustice that's happening in the black community, but also in the police department, and how it's a disparity between black and white officers. And when a black officer do something, they body slam him. When an white officer do something, they smack him on the wrist, or maybe nothing happens to him at all. You know, so she stood with us, and that's why we keep her around, our arms around her, because we know with this cover-up, and remember how deep this cover-up is now, how major it is. You heard me say the police department,
The mayor.
you heard me say the mayor, his chief of staff, Jeff Rainford, who's one of the most shrewdest guys here. And then another thing is because of Francis Slade's family history. If you Google the Leisures, if you Google the Michaels, if you Google the Slades, and if you Google Webbies, Sarkis Webby, you Google those names, you'll find out their whole family has been off into gangsterism for years before he became the mayor of the city of St. Louis. That's how come Lakeshaw could be in the community. Can you imagine if we tell them the truth? And if you go through the black community like I'm asking you and start asking about who Jerry Lakeshaw is, who's the assistant, most people would think he gone. They wouldn't even know he's the assistant chief of police. They would think he in jail, or he's, because they know for a fact how much. That's like me telling you El Chapo is going to get the position of assistant chief of police here in St. Louis because he done sold drugs, and and everybody knows who El Chapo is. They know it, but because of Francis Slade and his family, they didn't had their arms around him for years, because whatever he was doing was in the black community. That's why I came up with a chant: you don't kill Jews in Clayton and Ladue. It should be the same goddamn law against killing black people too. Mm-hmm. You don't go out there shooting them and killing them and just getting away with it. Why are you coming into our community and bringing havoc on us? Why are you doing it? And then why y'all come? The worst thing is, why are you covering this stuff up? It's the cover up that's worse, and the lying that you would lie. That's why they don't want to give out none of those transcripts, and they don't want to give out none of that information that I've asked them for under the sunshine request. The reason they have not given it to me in over 2.5 years is because of that reason, and that reason alone, because they know if they give it to me right now, I wouldn't be talking to you. I would be showing it to you right now, saying this is. So they haven't given me anything.
And that's the police department you requested it from.
And circuit attorney, I asked Jennifer Joyce before she left. And she sent something in writing, said she's going to get it to me in 30 days. They would get back with me. It's been 30 days, time 30 days plus 30 days around there. They're not going to give me that, because they know they can't keep my mouth shut. And another thing, they can't buy me. They know they can't control me. They can't buy me. And one of the worst things in the world, they know I'm not going to burn up nothing. They know it. They know I'm not going to shoot nobody. They know I'm not going to tell nobody to shoot nothing. They know I'm not going to tell nobody to blow up nothing. They're concerned about this mouth talking about this cover-up, and that I refuse to keep quiet on this cover-up. I was just on Roland Martin's show talking about this cover-up. Just got off a radio show that they streamed live, 4 different people along with a live radio show talking about this cover-up. Just was on Carl Nelson's show around the whole entire country talking about this cover-up. What's the name from the Young Democratic up there? Amy Gordon has just rested out, because I'm coming on there talking about this cover. Everybody want to hear about what? The cover. Why are people protesting? They're protesting because of the cover-up and the things that have happened that these people are still standing on, that they don't want to reveal. Because what's going to happen, if they would give me this information right now, this whole country would explode.
Let me ask you about the judge, too. You would think it was his final case of his career. You have motive. You have the officer saying what he's going to do. You have, to me, it seems like he planted a gun.
I'll talk a little bit on that, but I'm mostly, whenever I talk about the cover, but I'll hit that. He's gone. He's in Chicago now. You know, he left. He took his 5 weeks so he could get everything in place. He stepped right on down. You got to remember, his age, he one of the good old boys. You know, Thurgood Marshall talked about how they took off the white robes and the blue uniforms and put on the black robes. So they're on those benches now, and they just wringing havoc on our people. And he said something about, in his 30 years of being on the bench, and every time in the urban community he heard about an urban drug dealer, he automatically tied it into guns and stuff. So that means that when you look back at some of his gun cases or drug cases, I'm willing to bet you, and I haven't looked it up, I'm willing to bet you out of 100%, 90 to 95% of the end of those brothers, because of what he just said. And he gave his opinion. Nobody asked him for his goddamn opinion. We want you to go on the facts. We want to hear expert witnesses talk about their opinion. And the experts made their opinion. They said that there was no fingerprints on that gun that they supposedly had from Anthony Lamar Smith, except for Jason Stockley. They act like that didn't even exist. They didn't even want to talk about it was him saying, we're going to kill this motherfucker. They talked 2 hours in the courtroom because I didn't miss none of the court. Not one day, not 1 hour, not 1 minute of nothing. They debated on if it was his voice saying this. They debated on if he had an AK-47 and should they even let that be a part of what they're talking about, because they said that's talking about policy. You should have just seen how took on 4 or 5 subjects, damn near 5 or 6 hours on if they gonna even talk about if this was relevant. And all this has something to do with a mind state that they brought out on a witness stand that this dude had, this Jason Stockley, had a month before this happened. Sergeant Rumps had told him, why you keep on walking around with this damn AK-47 like this? You can't just be walking out publicly. We don't supposed to have this dude. You keep forgetting it. But they forgot this dude done had some problems over in Iraq and Fallujah, and that's what he was doing. That's what they brought on the stand. They had just told him 30 days before this happened, hey, dude, you can't keep doing it. But it wasn't just him. It was about 7, 8 more of them that was around there doing this here. So, yeah, I have a problem with what that judge did, but that's what they do here in St. Louis. And
when you say part of the old boys club, you mean almost like judges are also part of the not holding police accountable. The judges want to protect police too.
Them, Bob McCullough and them, the prosecutors, I mean, all of them got that same mindset because all of them have to look out for each other because they have a code of ethics amongst each other. They have to protect each other, and once one of them don't, he's a rat.
That's not a code of ethics. That's a code of corruption.
Correct. Well, that's what thanks for the correction, but I'm talking about with them, not with us. But this is exactly how they think, that they have to cover up, and all you're supposed to do is do what's right. You took an oath to protect and serve your community, and that's what you're supposed to do. And it's been different officers, like one of the brothers named Reddick Hudson. One of the reasons he left the police department because of corruption and people putting guns on him. One of the most brothers that's most visible than anybody, who was on HBO all the time now and worked with Al Heyman, Kevin Cunningham, left the police department on some of the same stuff. He said once he seen a little brother that he searched, and after he searched this guy didn't have no gun or nothing. So he went to go get something, he come back, the little guy in the back of the police car, and he's saying like, man, what is Jordan doing in the back of the police car? And the police officer told me something, he had a gun, had a gun. Kevin said he looked straight at this dude like I'm looking at you, took his keys off, went inside the car, unlocked the handcuffs out the brother, and told him to go down the street. And the guy asked, what are you doing? He said, hey, little brother, walk on down the street. And he asked me, he said, hey, man, what the fuck is you doing? He said, man, he had a gun. He said, you a goddamn, I just searched this dude, man. Fuck, he got a gun. He didn't have no gun. What did you? And took him into the police department. And him and the sergeant, it was like an argument that way they definitely gonna fight. And he knew then, and I'm about to get the fuck away from it, because now I'm not gonna be playing this little game with y'all, that y'all putting guns and dope and drug on people, and I'm standing by playing like this. Then I'm supposed to write a report saying that I seen this, because that's what he was going to say next. Because him being the officer with him, and that was his partner, the last thing the officer could have wrote is this what happened, and he wrote, this is not what happened. I seen this. So he told me, he said, you write that goddamn report, you better make sure my name ain't in it. But it wasn't no more than about 30 days from me, he got the fuck away from them. And he said it didn't happen 2 or 3 times, that they come into a house, and one time a sergeant went in there, and was all kind of money in there. And what he wound up doing is saying, because he was there first, he said when he looked up, the sergeant said, he got this, you can go on about your business. And he had to give her a sign off on some stuff, and he wound up saying they was gonna turn in like $5,000, when it was like $200,000 or $300,000 in the house. And he said, man, I'm not gonna sign off on this shit. I'm not giving, as long as y'all ain't got my name on this shit, y'all do whatever the fuck you want to, because I ain't gonna do this. And this is like what you said, it's not the code of ethics. This is something that's not ethical, that you would do this because you're there to protect and serve. And it's not all of them now. That's what I'm not trying to get. But it's enough of them that know this happening, they write those false reports with them because they're scared.
Other than you, has there been any politicians, has there been any journalists that have filed Freedom of Information requests?
I believe some of them have. I don't believe they've got the things they've asked for, but none of them have got. Remember, I'm the first one, so anything that they have gotten, some of them have got, I believe the Post-Dispatch got a few things, different ones, but I'm the one that they refuse to give anything to, you know. because of I'm gonna put it out on the streets.
Right.
See, some of the media, they control the media around here too. Most of the mayor's office work with all these folks. You know.
Tell me about that, because I've heard different things about the St. Louis Dispatch and elsewhere that they're
They
kind
got
of
the
just
folks
regurgitating.
disrespect. Well, yeah. Well, you got to remember, all of them are in the part of a network because what they want to do is make sure the masses of the people don't get a chance to hear and see how they're actually physically killing us. What we're saying is they don't want the people to see their constitutional rights, their human rights being violated on this level. So what they try to do is show some good old boy stuff, and they'll put a pastor too here and there, you know, and then they'll have somebody where they can pay them some money and then play like everything is okay, because they know that if the people actually see how they're executing us and their civil rights, not civil rights, their human rights and their constitutional rights is being denied, it would be all kind of things.
And my last question, this isn't just a corruption with Anthony Lamar Smith. It sounds to me they do this over and over and over. For a lot of people, might not be a murder, but they do this for a lot of different things to cover up misconduct.
Right, they've been doing this. This is St. Louis. This is the last place they freed the slaves. And they got a mindset here. They rather to spit on you than to speak to you. These people here are worse than Mississippi ever was. Mississippi's supposed to have a reputation during the time of Emmett Till as being the worst place. This is the worst place. You know, and if you travel throughout America, and I'm quite sure y'all ain't just stuck here in St. Louis, as you travel, you don't see the type of people that you see here. These people here, they're so racist, it's beyond sickening, and they do so much slick stuff to cover it up because they're arrogant, because they had no reason to have to cover it up. This is just where you're supposed to know how to be in your place here. And if you stay in your place, you're okay. You know, like they said with the Emmett Till case, the sheriff there said they never had a problem with the southern niggers until the NAACP and other groups would come down there and get involved. And other than that, the niggers know their place. This is how they act here in St. Louis. As long as black folks is kissing their ass and they got their head so far up there, they what they call an ass blower. They got their tongues up in their ass, they fart lickers. As long as they up in somebody's ass kissing it, they don't have no problem. It's only when a black man around here stands up that they label him, they exclude him, and ultimately they try to assassinate him. Because they assassinate your character, they try to play like it's something wrong with you. Everybody else go along with this because what they're doing, they're paying them now, like they do whores.
I was about to say, it's not just racism, they're trying to protect their money too.
That's exactly what they're trying to do, because there's a lot of money coming into this area, this city, and since they've already encountered the last thing they wanted, and remember, they had already paid $900,000. This isn't supposed to happen. This is supposed
To Anthony Smart.
to Anthony Lamar Smith's fiance, because that's who they was really dealing with. It wasn't the mother. The mother got played like she's as sweet as she want to be. But the bottom line, that's how they did this here. I appreciate you keeping this information out. I appreciate you two young men, Brother Thomas. I appreciate you. I appreciate what y'all are doing. I appreciate what you're doing with Brother Tory. And if you just help us keep this information out here, that would be the best thing to ever happen. And
Thanks,
you can
brother.
follow me on Anthony Shahid on Facebook.
Anthony Shahid on Facebook. Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, brother.